Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. On today's episode of The Lawyer You Know, we're going to break down Ron DeSantis' most recent executive order suspending all of the emergency protocols by local governments in Florida. What's really important about this bill is understanding what it does and what it does not do. So we're going to open up this video showing some press conference clips of Ron DeSantis and reacting to those. We're going to show some press conference clips from other mayors in the area that disagree with him. And then at the end, we're going to get into exactly what this bill does do and doesn't do, because I've seen a lot of posts of people saying, yay, no more masks, we can do whatever we want, we can go back to normal, Florida's totally open, and that is not what it's doing. So let's talk about this methodically and go through the situation about what we know and what is actually in place now in Florida. If you guys like this video, please subscribe to our page. This illustration at the bottom of the screen is going to show that most of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, over 90%. So please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video so you make sure not to miss out on any of the content we're going to do in the future. To start this video, let's get into showing exactly what this bill is and what the purpose of it is, according to Governor Ron DeSantis.
I'll also sign an executive order pursuant to that bill invalidating all remaining local emergency COVID orders effective on July 1st. But then to bridge the gap between then and now, I'm going to suspend, under my executive power, the local emergency orders as it relates to COVID. I think that's the evidence-based thing to do.
That's the evidence-based thing to do. So what he's doing is he's suspending all of the local government authority to police these COVID protocols. He is suspending all these emergency pandemic protocols. He's saying, stop. We're not allowed to throw people in jail. We're not allowed to fine people. Government is not going to get involved in punishing people for trying to go back to living their life the normal way. Period. The end. And it's not extending any further than that, and that's really important for us to understand. Now, there have already been mayors and local government authorities that have pushed back on this, and mostly Democrats throughout the country that have pushed back on what DeSantis does, as they always do. And a lot of this does have to do with politics. Obviously, these people are politicians. And we're going to hear from our very own in our backyard, Mayor Kreisman over in St. Pete, about how he thinks the reason Florida's in such good shape is because of these local government orders and these local governing authorities like the mayors in big cities like Miami and Tampa and St. Pete, like himself, and Orlando, who put these restrictions on, got us to where we need to be, and now that's why Florida's doing well, according to most of the country and according to most people. Now, some people don't agree with that, but he's saying that's the reason we're doing well. Could you imagine if DeSantis was in charge? Is something that Kreisman says. But Ron DeSantis is a lawyer and he is a politician. So saying that this is the evidence-based thing to do, I think is really important. Explaining he's doing this under his executive powers is really important because he's telling people, I have the power to do this. The mayors don't have this power. There's a reason that we don't do what all of them say, because the state elected me and I get to make these decisions. Now, you may have a problem with that and you may not have voted for him, but that is in fact the case. Just like Joe Biden has special powers, executive powers, as the president of the United States. Whether you voted for him or president or not, he has those powers. And it's important that DeSantis points that out. So let's talk about some of the other reasons DeSantis says this is the right thing to do at this time. And what evidence is he basing this off of?
I think folks that are saying that they need to be policing people at this point, if you're saying that, you really are saying you don't believe in the vaccines. You don't believe in the data. You don't believe in the science. We've embraced the vaccines. We've embraced the science on it. The data, I've said, has been good from the beginning in terms of clinical trials. It's even better in real life.
So DeSantis being a politician, right? So we know that people on both sides of the aisle like the vaccine and don't like the vaccine. But for the most part, the left was really crushing Trump for all this stuff, saying we need to get vaccinated. It's irresponsible for people not to get vaccinated. We need to have vaccination passports. We need to do all this stuff. So we assume that somebody like DeSantis, who's on the right side and is a Republican, is going to, say something negative about the vaccines. He does the exact opposite, which is a political home run. He says, we're going behind the science. We're behind the vaccine. If you want to police these people and continue to police these people under this pandemic, then you don't believe in the vaccine. You don't believe in the science. And it's funny because most of the local government officials that disagree with him and are pushing back are on the left side, are on the more liberal or democratic side. So what he's basically saying is, if you stand up and disagree with me, that means you don't trust the vaccine. That means you don't trust the science. which is really interesting because he's kind of hitting them back politically. And he's saying the reason that Florida can open up is we have this vaccine. We're encouraging people to get the vaccine. All right, let's hear what Mayor Kreisman says now.
Kreisman held a news conference at the same location 2 hours later.
No, we're not even at 50% vaccination yet in Pinellas County, let alone the rest of the state. And so if that's the case, then why isn't the CDC saying no more masks? I trust the CDC before I trust Governor DeSantis.
I trust the CDC more than I trust Governor DeSantis. Yeah, I get it. And this is what the political bouncing back and forth is. So he's saying, DeSantis is saying this is all about vaccination. We're not even 50% vaccinated yet. And why hasn't the CDC come out and said we can live like this and we should change the way we're doing things? Okay? Then on the other side, DeSantis and some Republicans have come out and said, well, the CDC says that you don't even have to wear masks anymore outside unless it's a super crowded event. Then you might need masks. So why do you guys still require masks in local government if you have any outside events? It doesn't make any sense. Why do we have to wear masks? It's just back and forth using the science and using the numbers for their political agenda. The point is, the mayors are going to try to do what's best for their job and their career, and DeSantis is going to do the same thing. And it just so happens in this situation, DeSantis has the executive power to make these decisions, and he has done so. So now that we've gotten that out of the way and we know what's being done, let's get down into it and see how is this actually practically going to affect us and what has changed in Florida since this executive order is being put into place, which is going to be July 1. But he's done some things to bridge the gap, like he said, saying everything's suspended until it ends on July 1. All right, let's first talk about what this executive order does do. It does get rid of any penalties from local government for not wearing a mask. They can't put you in jail. They can't fine you. They can't force you to do things as a local government. Number two, it totally throws out the vaccine passport. It will not be something that government requires in Florida. It will not be something to travel around from city to city. No local government can require a vaccine passport in Florida. DeSantis will not allow it according to this executive order. Now, some people may say, see, that shows he's against the vaccine. Well, the proof is in the pudding, and from his own mouth, he talks about how great the vaccine is. He talks about how great the science is. He talks about how great the numbers are and how it's even better in person than it was in the clinical trials. So he's not against the vaccine. He's not anti-vaccine at all, according to his own mouth. All right, number three, it gets rid of any extra safety plans for large events due to the pandemic and due to the national emergency. So if you were going to have a big event, outside, inside, whatever it may be, you were going to have to jump through all this extra red tape, deal with all this extra bureaucracy because of COVID. Those are all gone. Those special plans are out, and local government cannot force you to do that. This prevents any local governments in Florida from completely shutting down and not allowing any in-person learning for schools or shutting down any businesses based on the COVID protocols and the COVID emergency, and businesses or somebody not following what the old local government guidelines were because of this emergency, because of this pandemic. They were not allowing businesses to do business or schools to work in certain ways in certain local governments because of the protocols and the strict, stringent things they had in place that stopped businesses from being allowed to choose to do their business because just that one local governing body decided it to be like that. So DeSantis is saying that's no longer going to be allowed. Florida is going to be open for business as far as local governments go, but these businesses can make their own choices, and we'll get to that in a minute. Again, the last thing that it does, Governor DeSantis can invalidate any local emergency ordinance now or going into the future if it's not limited in time and scope. That means there has to be a specific person and a specific time period for all future emergency ordinances by these local governments. Meaning you can't just say everything's shut down until we say it's not. You have to say for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, and he's limiting it in time and scope. And it's also got to be for one specific purpose. It can't be a lot of little things, so we're not going to make this local order or rule as the local government. So as a whole, just a recap of what it does. It basically pulls all the power that the local governments have to police anything that has to do with COVID-19 restrictions. Now, some of DeSantis' naysayers are going to say he's supposed to be Republican, he's supposed to be free choice, he's not supposed to get involved in local governments, just like the states like Florida want to be able to do what they want to do as a state and let the federal government kind of stay out of it. Well, now he's overreaching as a Republican. He's forcing his agenda on us. That's what people are going to say DeSantis is doing, which is hypocritical on his part, according to them. Now let's talk about two very important things that this executive order does not do. First, it does not get rid of the mask mandate in schools for any of the counties. This does not affect the local school districts. And if schools still require masks, that's what has to be done. And these do not affect that at all. This executive order does not reach into that realm, period. We don't know why. We don't know if it's going to change in the future, but as of right now, it does not reach into that realm. And number two, it does not force all private businesses to get rid of their own decision to mandate masks. We've talked about this over and over again millions of times. Local private businesses and companies get to make those decisions for themselves. So if they still want to restrict access, if they still want to restrict service to people for wearing masks, if they want to kick people out of their restaurant or their store for not wearing a mask, they are absolutely allowed to do so. Now, one of the weird things is going to happen. What if somebody fights with them? Because now the local government can't come and police that situation and arrest them for not wearing a mask. But what they can do is they can trespass that person as the local business and the owner of the store. They can trespass, owner or agent of the owner, trespass that person if they refuse to leave. Then they call local law enforcement because they're violating the trespass, and they can be arrested for trespassing, just not for not wearing a mask. So that's how the new process is going to go. But it's going to cause some problems because now some local businesses and local governments are going to be giving different advice than what the bigger government of the governor of the whole state is saying. So whenever there's division and whenever there's not unity, it makes things muddy and it makes things harder to deal with for lawyers, for judges that are going to have to be making these decisions, for business owners that are trying to run businesses in these crazy times, and then for patrons. We don't know, do I have to bring my mask with me? Do I have to wear it? Do I not? I'm trying to be respectful of other people, so I want to wear it if they want me to wear it, but now I don't know if they want me to wear it, so I'm going to walk in. If they don't have the sign on their door, does that mean I don't have to wear a mask, or am I going to have to wear it? So now we get to go through all those decisions together as the citizens of Florida. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this executive order is solving a problem, or do you think it's unnecessary? Do you think it's overreaching, or do you think it's appropriate? And do you think Florida is going in the right direction, or would you rather be like some other state and how they're handling it? And if so, let me know which state so I can look into it. Thanks for being with us. Again, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and we'll be back with you next time. Thanks for watching this episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you like this content, please share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to our page and like our videos. If you want some interaction, get in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. If you want to know any more information about our firm or this page, you can find out in the description or visit tragoslaw.com. We post multiple times throughout the week, so make sure you hit that bell so you can get the notification and not miss out on the next episode. So once again, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.